Hi people, welcome to my new interview. This time next to me is Alessio. Alessio has created the Pacific Rim board game. Hello Alessio.
Hello. Hi.
Can you tell me something? What was your inspiration to create a game about Pacific Rim? Because I'm loving the film very much and I think you're loving it too.
Yes, the first film was amazing when it came out because nobody has ever done giant rather than giant monsters like that. It was, so heavy, so real. It just felt very realistic, so I loved it, absolutely.
And that was the reason that you think about you creating a board game around the film?
Well, we did other games on license, and actually Legendary Films got in touch with us and said, oh, would you be interested in doing because we've seen some of the Terminator game, we've seen your Labyrinth game, so we saw your My Little Pony game, so you seem to be good at making games on films. So are you interested? Because this was before Pacific Rim 2 was released. They got in touch and so we started talking and obviously I was very excited when they got in touch. I was like, ooh, wow. So,
yeah, it looks very nice and you offer pre-painted miniatures. That is not a normal standards here. Why did you do this?
Well, it was a way of standing out and we thought that we wanted to make a game with not a lot of models. So you have a few models, but we went big scale, really actually 75, 80 mils tall. And so we thought, well, if they're pre-painted, people can go straight on the table. So it kind of removes the barrier of having to paint the models. So in a way, almost like if you look at the boxes, they look more like action figures. So we went for that kind of action figure look.
Yeah. And what is planned for the future? Did we see a Pacific Rim 2?
Yes, there was a. Well, this is the this game mixes from the models and robots and Jaegers and monsters from film 1 and film 2. And then we will this is the first wave because we did a Kickstarter of this. So this is the first wave, which is the starter set and 2 Jaegers and 2 Kaijus on top of the starter set. The next wave next year will have 4 more Jaegers and 4 more Kaijus, a lot of them from film 1 as well. And then there's a third wave planned for either late next year or as soon as we can with more models.
Yeah, sure, because it's full compatible with the first wave, and it's no problem to add it to the game. Yeah, which game you're? I must ask, which games you're planned for the future for your company?
Well, the big thing we are working on at the moment is a role-play game based on Labyrinth. And we have made a card game based on Labyrinth because our Labyrinth board game has proven to be a great success. It's still, still doing fantastically for us.
Yeah, it's a classic.
It is indeed. And now, so we went card game and a role-play game based on Labyrinth, which, I have to say, the RPG looks fantastic. And the card game, they all look very big. We put a lot of new illustration there. There's a lot of artwork. There's a lot of passion in those games.
Yeah.
And you will see it shows.
Okay, I'm very excited about the game, and now you'll explain us the game a little bit and take an overview of some rules of the game. Thank you for the explanation, Alessio.
Of course, thank you. So this is a table that we made because, of course, this is a miniatures game. So you can play on a nice table like this that you make, or you can play on a kitchen table with just the terrain that is inside our starter set. But say, for example, here I'll show you some of the mechanics and I'll talk about the game in general.
Because this board is a custom board, for example, yes.
yes, this is the game we made. Sorry, the board we made. Yeah. In the starter set, you have a mat, you have some terrain made of paper, and buildings you can build. So actually, 3D buildings are in the starter set. But in this case, in general, the game sees the kaiju, the monsters, attacking cities. And they basically aim to destroy the buildings. They want to destroy the buildings, and the Jaegers, the robots, are a defense force, and they're trying to protect the city and take out the monsters. So in this particular case, we made something that looks a bit like Sydney Harbour and the Opera House there. And so what happens is, I can give you some rules, just a quick lowdown of the rules. So what happens is, the beginning of the turn, each player plan what their model or models are going to do. So you have say for example, Saber Athena here has normally they have 6 action cards.
Very nice models we can see here. Pre-painted. Very nice.
Thank you. So yes, you have 6 action cards that, for example, here give you choice of what you want to do. Normally 6, I will be making it a bit smaller because it's a demo game. But you would pick something. So say, for example, that she picks a power surge. Oops, and there you go. So that card is placed face down next to the robot. So the player, all players, pick their actions. So let's assume that they pick fire plasma cannon, while this player picks, I think, the player will put probably this action, and this player, or the same player, you can control any number of cards. I would recommend 2 or 3 per player, or 1. I mean, single is fun, and he will do a siege strike. Okay, so first thing we pick our action for the turn. After that, we reveal what the action is. So we have fire, plasma cannon, siege strike, rage, and power surge. So effectively, this Jäger is concentrating on firing his arm-mounted plasma cannon. This monster is attacking the building, so he's going for a siege strike. This is going, and these two are actually charging up or running towards each other. So they're basically building their energy. So what I can do now, what you do is you roll a dice to see, after the planning phase, to see who gets to activate first. Very important. The dice, the activation dice, will show you how many of your models you can activate together. So starting with a kaiju, if it's the same number of models, the kaiju go first. I'll roll a dice and tells me that I activate no models, which means I would pass. Yes, bad result. Basically, it goes from 0 to 1 to 2. 2 is a very good result. So I pass it over to the Jäger side, and actually, quite the opposite. They can activate both models, so very lucky. Also, there is a degree of control to this. There's skills like command and control skills that allow you to influence this and reroll the dice and stuff like that. But this is a base setup, so we don't do that.
And what if you're rolling a blank?
You pass it to the other player, so you skip.
Oh God! Then you do nothing with your.
Well, you skip that, and then he does that, and then he gives it back to you. So basically, the dice continue to go backwards and forwards until all the models have activated. When all the models have activated, the turn is over. So it's not that you don't do anything that turn, but you don't do anything in that moment. But you will do it again later.
Okay.
Yeah. So 2 of them. So what I'll do is I'll move, and I'll show you a movement. So you use this tool that we have included in the game. This tool on one side does the movement. Let me twist it right. Yeah. On this side it does the movement, while on this side it does the range. Yeah. This sharp bit here is actually used to turn the model. I'll show you in a second. So say, for example, that that model has a movement of 3. I will place the template like that and go 1, 2, 3, slotting into the corner. And then I can turn it. It can turn a full turn or a half a turn. If I don't do a full turn, I can do something as simple as that, as long as I remain within the thing. Or I could do just a half a turn. Half a turn is down like that. Yep. So this is very useful because it does movement, it does range. So I can measure the range of my plasma cannon to my target, and I see it's just outside the short range. This is short range. Anything else is long range. So that is in long range.
Very easy movement because you have this tile that you're laying on, and very nice.
Well, we call it the invisible hex system, because basically it looks pretty because there's no hexes, but the moment you put this next to the model, suddenly you are moving with hexes.
Yeah, so because it's easier, because you have no ruler that you need here to declare the range. That's very fast.
It is, and I mean, if you have problems because maybe a building's next to you, the good thing is that in this game you can always remove the buildings if they're in the way, and then put it back. Because, for example, you see in the starter set, all the buildings have a hex basis. So even the 3D buildings, you can just move out, measure, and then put it back.
Yeah, sure.
So easy. Right. Okay. So I see that I'm in long range. I'll fire my plasma cannon, which normally is a number of dice. So when I attack, I'll use my skill plus my power, and it costs me 1 charge. So I will reduce my charge down by 1 because I can then recharge and fire again. So this is the total dice I can fire. If I had extra charge, I could boost the shot by putting more dice in it, using more charge. But at the moment, I don't have more charge. So
how did you regenerate the charge?
Using this card. All models have either the power surge or the rage card. That card allows you to either run, so move and then move again, so double move, or allows you to recharge up to maximum. So those cards you will see in a second may be lost due to damage. You will see how it works. So let's say I roll these dice. I'm looking for results like this. So obviously I will tweak it a bit. So let's say that I scored 3 hits. And I scored a special result. Special results apply in some cases with some special rules, so trigger some special abilities. In this case, there's no need, so I'll ignore that, I'll ignore that, I'll ignore that. But these are a hit, and an explosive hit. So what I do, so this was a normal hit, normal hit, explosive hit. So an explosive hit means that I can roll another dice as well. So instead of just this hit, I could roll another dice, and it's a miss. If this was an explosive hit, I could continue to roll. So in theory, I could do an infinite amount of hits with a single shot.
Yeah, exploding die mechanic. Nice.
Indeed. So say that I scored 3 hits on the model, then he will roll with his skill and his armor value, which, for example, let's say that, again, for the sake of showing you how damage works, I can beat his score by 1 in this case, causing 1 point of damage. I will just explain you how the damage works. So if you're damaged my model, what you do is you pick, I hold these cards in front of you, and you pick one of the cards at random, say this one, and you see what happens. So in this case, the card is Fire Tail Spikes. Ooh, focus. So that means this card is lost. This card is put as a marker of damage next to the model.
For example, you're losing the skill complete for the rest of the game.
That's right. That means that basically you have shot my tail off. So the shot from the plasma cannon has destroyed my tail. I cannot use my tail spikes anymore, which means I have fewer choices, I have fewer cards, and I'm closer to my limit. When I get to the limit, so in this case 3, the model dies. So the cards that are your activation are also your damage, and losing them means you're losing parts of your body, like you do. Like, you could lose the plasma cannon. If you lose the rage card, it's very bad because you lost your power reactor, or your heart is weaker, so you lose the ability of recharging. Which is
and if
very
you lose
bad.
all your cards, you're dead.
Not all your cards, just as many as is shown here. So you can lose 3 and then die.
Okay.
You can lose 4 and then die, because all the cards will take a long time to lose them all. The best strategy is to get in the rear arc of enemies. So, for example, if you engage an enemy to the front and then you manage to get to the rear arc and you shoot or indeed engage in close combat in the rear arc, what happens is that you, like I've shown you before, you use normally armor and skill in defense, but if somebody's behind you, you don't use your skills. You only use your armor, which is kind of like half of your defense, which is bad news.
Yeah, for sure. And let's talk about the goal of the game. We can see it, they battle each other, because you have added some scenarios in the base game?
Yeah, the base game has a set of cards called the scenario cards, which shows a different setup of the buildings, setup of the terrain, the 2D terrain, like areas of terrain, and how the models deploy. Then you have another set of cards called the mission cards, which give you victory conditions. There's some basic victory conditions. The Jaegers normally score points for saving buildings, and the Kaiju score points for destroying buildings. You always score. He's attacking the camera. You always score points for killing the enemy, of course. And the mission cards give you special objectives, like killing the leader of the enemy force, or extra points for preserving buildings, or a specific building. So they give you a bit of variety in terms of the. So the setup changes, and the victory condition change every time.
Yeah, and the primary goal is to destroy the buildings.
Normally it is, yes. In normal missions, yes. And on the reverse of the playmat in the starter set, there's a underwater mission where it's the other way around. The Jaegers are attacking. They're carrying a nuke, and they want to put the nuke inside a breach.
It's the final of the film.
Final of film 1, yeah. And the Kaijus are defending. They're trying to stop them, effectively.
Okay, that looks really nice. Thank you for the explanation of the game. It looks very nice, and I can't wait to play it for myself and show it on my channel in German. That was it. We are finished, and very nice game that you have made, and I can't wait to have some expansion of this one. Thank you.
Thank you very much.